family. Welcome to Plain Talk on Africa Lately. Rwandan President Paul Kagame is admired not only for his sterling leadership qualities, but his knack for plain talk. Here are 6 of such instances.
You've done so much for women in Rwanda, and they have so much power. I'm wondering, is the LGBT community a part of the future of Rwanda?
LGBT, it hasn't been our problem. And we don't intend to make it a problem. ICC has become a tool to be used against, well, that is my opinion. You are free to have yours, but it has been a tool to use against these Africans who must be, whipped and lined up to. I just don't subscribe to that. I cannot accept it. I mean, and I'm sure you are not ignorant of how this world operates. Some powers think they have authority to take it to others, but it cannot come to them. And that is ICC.
You've spoken a lot about democracy, and I would just like to point to the accusations of human rights abuses in terms of the elimination of your political opponents or the oppression of the press, and I would just like to hear your comments towards that.
Well, for me, it's like, it's always difficult to accuse me of anything and then say, prove yourself innocent. I think I want to turn it to you and say, prove me guilty. The real life there is completely different from what the young girl is talking about. Nobody who should dictate to Rwandans or even attempt to take away their right to be. And nobody should tell Rwandans what to be. Of course, there are people who say, well, we give you our money, so we must tell you what to do and what to be. Well, there comes a point where you say, okay, between my rights and what I want to be and your money, you can have your money. For example, the case in France, a judge somewhere in rural areas of France, one of the village judges somewhere, decides that he's going to indict leaders in Rwanda and talks about all kinds of things that happened in Rwanda and, blames Rwandans for. At the same time, there is a bad history between us where actually during the genocide, there are many things that happened that involved some people from France. So now, instead of actually Rwanda having a case against France, a judge in France indicts leaders of a country, military leaders, political leaders, a whole list of about close to 20. And they want to indict them to France to be tried for things that they say they did, which are also completely fabricated. But because of that bad history we have had, they wanted to do that. And we said, this is not possible. We said, if you are doing that, and they called it universal jurisdiction that give the powers to these judges. And we said, okay, if actually your judges have powers to do that, to indict people in Rwanda or elsewhere, and take them to the courts in France, if it is universal, then our judges should have the authority to actually indict your people and bring them to the courts of law. So the question therefore was, how does it become universal when it is just one way? Well, BBC is supposed to be, well, the standard of freedom of speech. But all they do is politics. They belittle people. We are not people to be belittled at all. They are no better than anybody. We have fought for our freedoms right from childhood, some of us. These people who just run around cannot, they, of course, in their culture, they are not humble. They think they are better than everybody else. Well, it's not God-given. God created us equal. For these other gods who want us to bow to them, in Rwanda, they are in the wrong place.